happy that she is here. I'm also happy that Randy and team are back for another in our Commissioner Series, and I turned it over to Randy to continue. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. I just want to say a quick word about our format. We're recording for radio, so the no cursing rule is in effect. My hands are tied. There's nothing I can do about it. Maybe you can. No, I guess not. It's the feds. It's the federal government that restricts us in this way. I think people are especially interesting when they don't speak directly about themselves, but about a person, a place, and a thing that they care about. So that's the format we'll use tonight. As you know, there'll be a chance for Q&A at the end, so write those questions out. We're primarily a radio show, and to me that means there should always be live music. And I'm delighted that this evening that music will be Jefferson Hammond. Welcome, Commissioner Dawn Pinnock. Thank you. When we started, we didn't know we were doing a, can you swing that just a little closer?
A little closer? Is that better?
Yeah.
I think I've messed up the setup. We're good?
Good.
All right.
When we started, we didn't know we were going to be doing only commissioners. It's a series of commissioners, but you have to attend very high office now to get on hold and series. You're
I'm really impressed with myself right now.
Oh, that's my job, to be impressed with you, and I am. So, who's your person?
So, I'm very blessed in my life to have many people to choose from, but my person is my father, Bernard Edward Pinnock. Besides being an amazing father who really instilled in my sisters and I, a level of self-assurance and self-esteem and to trust ourselves and to tell us that, girls and women could do anything. He was also a public servant. So I had a chance to see firsthand someone who worked for New York City government each and every day. And my father always said to me that when you're called to serve, there's really no feeling like it, and it's not a feeling that you can shake. And I didn't always understand what he meant when I was a young girl, but as I started to look for a career for myself, not a job, a true career, I found that in government. So as I sit here today and I say his name aloud, I feel like I'm always honoring his memory and really living a life that he had dreamed of for me. So my dad is my person.
So you're a second generation city government.
Yes, I am.
That's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
What kind of work did your dad do?
So he worked in the court system. He started off as a court officer for a time, and then he had taken some civil service exams. And he later worked within this division, and I don't know if that's the name they're using now, but it used to be called landlord and tenant. So essentially, any time when someone had a dispute, either with a landlord or needed to have some questions answered about maybe non-payment of rent, my father would help, the citizens of New York City figure out a way to remain housed. So he loved the job. He was great at providing that service, and I had a chance to see him do that.
Well, it must be unbelievably gratifying to feel that your work actually improves people's lives.
Yes, it is.
There aren't a lot of jobs that do that.
Well, come work for New York City government. We have plenty. Lots of
Well, I
jobs.
mean, if you're like, no knock on the advertising business, but I mean, people want their work, you want to get up every day and do work that's meaningful. And not so many people get to do that, I think. But you do.
I absolutely do, and I feel blessed and honored to serve the city.
You're not the only one in you have a sister, right, who's also.
So my sister used to work for government, yes. And so she has retired, and I have air quotes up for people who can see me because she's too young to be of retirement age, but she's made some great decisions and she no longer has to work.
Did she flee the country?
No, she lives in Pennsylvania, and
well, that's pretty much the same. I mean, come on.
No, she moved out of the city, and so she's just chosen a different path personally, but definitely she worked for the city for over 20 years before leaving.
You've worked in transit, right?
Yes.
In housing. Is running an agency now a generalist's job? Because you didn't study transportation policy and you didn't study housing policy. So are there generalizable skills in just running an agency?
Absolutely. I think that there are a host of transferable skills that really help you to serve well as an agency head. First of all, being able to communicate effectively regardless of the situation. There will be many times when you have to draft something, but many times when you need to get folks aligned on vision or be able to negotiate in order to work on behalf of the interests of the city of New York. I always say working with people well. People management is key. I know that a lot of folks may say that those are the soft skills, but no. People management is probably the hardest skill to master because you are working with people who are bringing their whole selves to a job each and every day.
I know, you're supposed to bring your whole self and everything.
Absolutely.
That's great. And I want to bring my whole self, but I don't think anyone else should get to. You're a professional, to keep your personal life at home.
Yes.
You have a job to do.
No.
I wouldn't last 5 minutes, would I?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about you, Randy.
No.
I don't think you will last.
Well, I would need a lot of therapy, I'm sure.
But we have services for that. So I said we have many vacancies here in New York City.
Well, can you explain, because I confess I didn't know what DCAS does. Before we were preparing for tonight, I didn't even know to call it DCAS. I was calling it DCAS. I'm so embarrassed. No offense. But can you explain what your agency's brief?
So I first just want to take the opportunity to thank Commissioner Toole, who welcomed us here today. She has been such an advocate of our work. And so she described DCAS pretty accurately when she said that we're the nucleus. So we call ourselves the backbone of government, the lifeblood of government, but really we are New York City government's service provider. So whether it's services relating to human capital, where we provide a qualified workforce for city agencies, or handling the real estate portfolio, or procuring goods and services, or equity and inclusion training and policy work, all of that comes through DCAS. And so we are really unique in that every city agency is our client, and so we are the city's service provider.
I see. So this is all very inside, that you get to see the workings of every other agency in city government, and so I'm guessing you have to have a real understanding of every other agency.
You do, and that is one reason why I particularly enjoy DCAS as an agency, because you get to know members of staff at different agencies, their title structure, it's really your job to help them meet their mission, which is, very different. So that's the reason why our mission is so broad, where we say that our mission is to make New York City government work for all New Yorkers, because our clients are current employees, job seekers, really anyone who wants to do business with the city. And so at DCAS, you absolutely get to know the inner workings of every city agency.
Well, if you have to do that, they should be paying you like double what other people get, right?
Listen, there's a barcode for my boss. There's a bar here from Eric. I'm happy to share the barcode. Yes.
Okay, well, I'll call them right now. And we'll know the difference. As you work with many different agencies and as you stay in city government for your professional life,
Yes.
You've seen a lot of mayors come and go. And there must be some that you get along with great and some maybe not so much. How do you handle the ones you don't like?
Where are we going with these questions?
Well, that seems, because you were talking about people skills, and
Yes.
that seems really, you can't like all 10 mayors.
Right, and the
equal.
thing is, I don't even expect all of my staff to like me all of the time. So,
Oh, no. I think you can
No.
fire them if
like
they're-
there's some that think I'm amazing, and others not so much.
Isn't that a firing offense?
No.
Oh, civil
No.
service.
That's where your people management skills come in.
Ah.
Yes, but definitely in terms of navigating the relationship when there's a new mayor that comes in,
Yeah.
I think one of the great things about working in government is that there are certain things that are just core to what we do, right, to keep the city running. But you also have to be honest with yourself that when someone comes into office, they have different priorities, and you may have to make those shifts in order to still meet your core values and keep the city running. But if there are other mayoral priorities, you then pivot in order to address those as well. So I think it just varies. Everyone has a different management style, and part of being a service provider really means that we have that subject matter expertise to provide guidance and support, but also being able to pivot and be nimble in order to match those priorities.
Well, it sounds like there are some mayors who come in and they have policy ideas, but might not actually know how to do anything. But you know actually how to get things done.
Absolutely. We are proudly a group of subject matter experts who also know how to operationalize policy. So, oftentimes we are at the table as different policy decisions are made, and we weigh in on what has historically worked, what may now work because we've evolved as a city, or certain things that may present a risk to the agency that we need to think about how to best mitigate. And then along with that, we provide technical guidance and assistance to the agencies to help them operationalize those policies.
Oh, so you do get a chance to at least weigh in on policy.
Yes, sometimes.
Because I was thinking, well, just hypothetically, I know everyone doesn't have my politics, although you should. That say, Rudy Giuliani were mayor, that would be challenging. His policy ideas, if we can call it one,
Yes.
but that would be very hard. And
Right.
yet your job is to serve the city.
Absolutely. And we always talk about just that part of this role is to try to ensure alignment, but alignment doesn't always mean agreement, right? And so that's why it's just so important to make sure that at least you're laying out what those risks are, you've laid out what has worked before, maybe what hasn't, what is completely new, and that, you are then doing your best to protect the administration as well as the city. And if there's a determination that there will be an alternate path, then really part of our job is to support that path, but really mitigating all the risks along the way.
I love that approach where you can say you have enough historical knowledge, enough intimate knowledge of the whole history of the city that when a mayor has a really stupid idea, like say cutting library budgets, just hypothetically, not that anyone would do that.
Just to be
you can
clear,
say
our current mayor never has a
historically-
stupid idea.
Historically, that
Just-
hasn't worked. I'm going to start using that all the time. I like that phrase. Are there particular things that your dad told you about city government that have stayed with you through your professional life?
He always said that there was no greater honor than to serve, and that certainly there was honor in service. But he did also say it wasn't for the faint of heart. You have to, understand that everything will not go your way, that you will have some good days and some bad days, but the goal is to have those good days carry you through. So I really applaud how he provided a realistic approach. So some days he got up to go to work and he absolutely did not want to go in. But then there were other days where he was just so proud of the work that he and his team had done, previously, and then that's what carried him into the office. So I really thank him for offering that honest view.
That's pretty good. I think that's true in every job, and it's part of being an adult. I think to just realize some days you're going to feel like you just like to quit, or you don't want to go in, but you don't actually do that.
Yes.
There will be better days ahead. I think I'm not the only person, the only civilian ignorant of DCAS. I love calling it DCAS. Now I feel so,
We're gonna get you a jacket.
Thank you. Oh, that's fine. I'll wear it with pride. But everybody knows, and has, I think, maybe strong feelings about certain city agencies, the police,
Yes.
transportation, sanitation. When you go to a party and they go, what do you do? Well, I'm Commissioner of DCAS. There must be sometimes people are as uninformed as me and they don't know what it is.
Yes.
So hurt your feelings? Do you resent the fire commissioner?
No, I don't. I think all the commissioners are really great in their own right, but I love the opportunity to really introduce DCAS to folks, because when they figure out very quickly that we are the nucleus, then they never want to let go of this relationship. So I love that challenge.
Oh, I'm going to call you every day from now on. No, it's so impressive. I don't see how the city couldn't find.
Remember, we're the nucleus, we're the lifeblood, we're the backbone.
You need a nucleus, and every day isn't going to be a good day. You need a nucleus, and historically that hasn't worked. Isn't it crazy? I really want to use all the time. Do you get together with the other commissioners socially? Is there a bar where all the commissioners hang out?
See, I don't know. We just started this relationship. I don't know if I can trust you with that information.
I respect that.
I have to teach you the secret handshake.
No, I don't presume. I'm not impertinent. Let's take a moment and we'll be right back.
Old friend, I'm so glad you're here. Oh, have yourself an oyster, have yourself a beer. There's music in the kitchen, dinner around about 10. We're together once again, my old friend. They knew you when you were younger, back when you were on the run. They knew you when you were fragile. They knew you when you were strong. Old friend, I'm so glad you called. Seems just like yesterday, you haven't changed at all. I'll stand beside you now, and beside you till the end, just like it's always been, my old friend. They knew you when you were lying, but they let you have your fun. They knew you were only trying to shine a light for everyone. Old friend, sit yourself right down. There's a bottle on the table, go on and pass it round. Call the boyfriends and the bosses, tell them wait a day or 10. Looks like another late one, old friend, old friend. Looks like another late one, old friend.
My place is Koreatown. So there's a bit of a backstory. My daughter is now 13 and she still thinks I'm cool, so I take full advantage of that. And she's at a time when she likes to explore the city. And so every week we have a date. And since she's into Korean pop music and she loves all the boy bands, she wanted to learn more about Korean cuisine. And so every week we go to a different restaurant in Koreatown. And we've been doing that for the last couple of months. So I think we're creating our own secret Yelp or Zagats where we're rating, the restaurants as we try them out.
So this is so cool, and this arises from her interest in K-pop music, leads her
Yes.
to Korean food. This is great.
Yes. And so we're on search for the best Korean barbecue place.
Are these the kind of places where you can cook at your table?
Yes. I'm just thinking about the cuisine as I'm talking to you. So yes.
I wish we could move this right now to there and be recording there. But this seems also a great way to, it somehow seems like it's tension of your job, that the same kind of nuanced understanding of how the city government works, this is how the city works. We're a city of immigrants, and why not approach it through
Yes.
food?
It's definitely a way to support small businesses. It's also a way to really embrace the diversity of the city. You know, diversity in food, diversity just in, you know, the ownership of those establishments. And so it's also a really great time to just see the city through my daughter's eyes, you know. So it's been great. Koreatown has been our area. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, generally, we're in Koreatown.
Well, and it's one of the things that makes it just great to live here, that people come from all over the world and they bring their food.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, if she were staying with your sister and she was interested in Korean food and living in Pennsylvania, you know how many places she'd have to go? I believe 0. So this is great. This is why we love living here. How did you learn what to order?
So my daughter is one of my greatest teachers. She's only been around for 13 years, but she's a pretty smart one. So she is the one who said, you know, she wanted to try Korean barbecue, and then she let me know about the different slices of meat, whether it's like they marinate bulgogi meat or something like that. So it was really my daughter.
But how did she know?
Well, since she's a little obsessed, you know, well, if you're listening, Mia, you're obsessed, with her K-pop groups, she would hear about things that they would eat. And so based on that, she started to develop her own menus in terms of what she'd like to taste, whether there were desserts or different kinds of bubble teas or just the Korean barbecue.
See, I think this is my theory of parenting, was that any interest in a kid that isn't, you know, that doesn't put them in some kind of danger or will, you know, the cops are going to show up at your door. But in general, any interest in a kid should be encouraged. Now, I would have thought out K-pop music. You poor parents, now you have to listen to a lot of K-pop music. But this turns out to be wonderful, and it leads you to all kinds of things.
Absolutely. So, and also she's into Korean skincare. So when we're in Koreatown, we're spending way too much money.
Korean skincare. But I believe, though, isn't it Seoul that has the highest percentage of people who've had plastic surgery? Am I right about that? Does everyone want to fact check that?
Really?
Could we call your daughter?
I don't know if she'd know that. I don't think she's interested in plastic surgery yet. She's only 13.
Do you see a connection between the music and the food?
Not really. I just think the food is good, and you know, and the music's great. So.
One of the things that's changed about New York, and I guess it continues to change, is that there's this cluster of Korean restaurants, all on this one block. It's fantastic. And those kind of ethnic enclaves only last until a new immigrant group becomes more integrated into the life of the city. Yes. So that the Upper East Side, where Germans used to be, 150 years ago, that was the biggest immigrant group in New York. And there's no sense when you're in the Upper East Side that you're in a German neighborhood.
Right.
Even Little Italy's really shrinking. Chinatown is really shrinking. And in some ways, are those successes or failures, the loss of those enclaves?
So I don't know. I think I see it's part of the evolution of the city. So I don't know if I necessarily see if it's like a benefit or a loss. I just see it's part of the city's evolution. But I do think that there has to be room for, you know, smaller businesses where people are able to share their culture, whether that's through food, you know, or just through other means.
Does this mean we all have to move to Queens, which has the biggest percentage of immigrants? The most diversity of food.
Yes, they do.
It's the future of Queens.
It is. After spending part of my childhood there, I can tell you.
Is that so?
Between the Bronx and Queens, definitely Queens, the food there was far more diverse, you know, in my upbringing, sure. And whether it was Caribbean food, whether it was, you know, Asian food, you know, definitely.
Do you take your daughter now?
To Queens? No, we have to conquer Koreatown first. So we're trying to hit almost every restaurant between 32nd and 33rd Street, between Madison and 6th.
Yeah.
So we have a whole map, and then after that, we'll probably venture out to some of the other boroughs.
But only to Korean restaurants for now.
For right now, until she allows me to do something different.
You'll have to introduce some new music, I think.
I don't know.
Otherwise, you're gonna miss out on a lot of really wonderful things to eat.
I know, but right now she's in the driver's seat, so.
So Queens, I think, is it 140 languages spoken in Queens?
Wow.
Do you speak 140 languages?
No, I don't.
Is it an obstacle in your job?
Oh, that's why I have smarter people who work with me to fill in those gaps.
This is good management. So if we were going to go to Koreatown now, what will we order?
Okay, so I would take you to this restaurant called Love. It's Love Korean Barbecue, and it's appropriately named because I love their Korean barbecue. So I would probably order the beef lovers platter, which includes prime rib, bulgogi, some short rib. So, you know, it's definitely, if you're interested in being a carnivore that day, that platter is the best. And then you have all of these little side dishes. So sometimes you have burdock root, and you have some slaw, and, you know, so it's nice.
What do you do with the side dishes? Explain.
Oh, so normally you have several different bowls where you
Wait,
have
all these bowls
rice.
come in. I'm never quite sure what to do with them, where that fits in the meal.
So what I do is I make the ultimate rice bowl. So depending on the meat that we're sauteing, so I'll put some of that on top of my rice. They usually have some other condiments, whether it's a mixture of sea salt and pepper or another kind of sauce, I'll use that. But then I also garnish it with the other vegetables, just so I can have a nice crunch and have that texture. So it's delicious.
Do you think that your meal is the same meal that a Korean family at the next table is eating? Are you doing it, I guess I don't want to say the right way, but
So
at
what's
least the
funny
Korean
is that
way.
I do look over my shoulder just to see like how they're mixing things, and also we ask the folks in the restaurants, you know, like is this a combination that you would like, or asking them for a recommendation, or asking them about the condiments, because really a part of it is bonding with my daughter, but also like wanting to the greatest extent possible, right? Like to have some kind of authentic cuisine. And so we do ask the staff at the restaurants, like not like what the customer's favorites are, but particularly like what's your favorite? Like what would you recommend to someone?
And is your daughter okay with you asking for advice? As kids can be.
I don't know if she's okay with that, but listen, I'm paying the bill, so she rolls with it.
Wow, it's a good policy for both of you. I think it takes a certain amount of confidence to admit ignorance.
I think that you have to. Like you can't like navigate this life well and think you know everything. And I'm happy to be the student, you know, in many spaces that I occupy.
When you say something like that, it sounds indistinguishable to me. Are we talking about eating in an unfamiliar restaurant, or are we talking about how you run your agency?
Both. I mean, there are many times where I'm sitting with my team and I make it clear if I don't know what to do. And although there would have been a time earlier in my career where I would have been nervous to say that, I think that, you know, learned experiences have shown me that saying you don't know, but you are fully committed to figuring it out and you are relying on your team to help you get there is a really great way to build a team and to build trust within that team.
That seems particularly true in your agency, where you must be obliged to assist people doing very specialized work in other agencies that you can't possibly be an expert in.
Exactly. And so to your point, I think you made an earlier point saying about general knowledge and general skill. So I definitely think that one of my strengths is that in working for the city, you know, for 26 years, I know a lot about a lot of agencies because I've worked at very large agencies, smaller agencies, and developing those networks across the city systems. But most importantly, I know how to navigate government. So if there is a problem that seems really difficult to solve, you know, I've learned over time the importance of pulling other folks in who may have a skill set that I just don't have, or who has a completely different perspective from me, and then that helps us to arrive at the best decision.
Again, it seems like the confidence that only a very competent person could have. Because the people who are, I'm thinking of presidential debates, when someone refuses to alter a position or admit that they don't know something, that seems like ignorance and weakness to me. It's only a very confident person that can say, oh, well, I don't know that.
I would agree.
It
So you never have to worry about me saying that, because if I don't know, you'll know it.
That's somehow unbelievably refreshing to hear someone who's running the city say that. That's a great thing. I think let's take a moment and we'll be right back. Song about the whiskey tax of 1792, city tax, federal tax?
We haven't paid any city tax since 1792.
Ah, do you want to fact check that? So, all right, so what's your thing? I hope those neighbor kids didn't swipe it.
So here's my thing. She doesn't have a name, but she certainly has a purpose. So one of my favorite books is entitled Instinct by T.D. Jakes. And so I don't know if you're familiar with T.D. Jakes. He is a well-known pastor, but he has built a multi-million-dollar business where he also writes leadership books. He has podcasts. So in addition to serving as a pastor, he's grown his business. And so in the book Instinct, it specifically talks about instinctive leadership and how it's really great to have a balance between intellect, meaning either your natural knowledge or knowledge that you're bringing into your company as you're hiring people, but also to pair that with having solid instincts, your knowledge of people, your knowledge of learned experiences. Because if you're out of balance, then generally your decision making is not the best. And so he referenced two animals in his books where he talked about if you have a turtle's view of the world or a giraffe's view of the world. So with a turtle can hide, they can go into their shell, their neck is much shorter, so their view of the world tends to be a lot smaller. and then that impacts the decisions they make. Whereas the giraffe, anatomically, they're forced to see the world and to be exposed. Frankly, if they put their head down for too long of a period, that could, disrupt their life. And so the question that he poses to you as a leader, are you going to have a turtle's view or a giraffe's view? And so after reading that, I bought a giraffe for me, I bought a giraffe for my husband and my daughter. So for the last 15 years, every job I've held, this giraffe is in my bookcase. Very rarely do people ask me what it signifies, so I'm happy to share the story today.
Wow, I believe your daughter didn't, want to take that over to the Korean barbecue. I don't know if you can eat giraffe. I was surprised that you chose this because I thought, you're such a sophisticated managerial mind that you study business administration.
Can you say that again?
You study urban policy, and then I thought that you're going to talk about some kind of business book, but this is a very different approach.
Absolutely, the giraffe reminds me of who I am.
Really?
Even when it's difficult, taking the full view, you have to look down for a bit, in order to see those problems at a certain level. But as a leader, you are called to take it all in. So the giraffe sometimes reminds me in a fun way of who I am.
But if I get the feeling TD Jakes is pretty anti-turtle. I mean, you make the turtles sound really awful. If you have turtles in your department, you fire them. They're down on the ground. They don't see anything.
No, sometimes
They're
having that
slow.
turtle's view, but see,
Really?
that's where the intellect and the instinct, that's where you have to see which one needs to, weigh in a bit more. Because having a turtle's view is sometimes really important when you need someone to be detail-oriented or the nature of their job is so highly specialized. You don't want them thinking about the full world. Focus on the matter at hand. So there's room for turtles and room for the giraffe, but I just choose to be the giraffe.
So there's room for both.
Absolutely.
What if the giraffe would pick up the turtle so the turtle could see a little more?
I guess that could work.
I've never seen a giraffe pick up a turtle.
Listen,
once.
it's possible.
Might be against the laws of nature. I get the feeling you're not just talking about this as a sort of guide to how you might manage things, but you seem to be speaking of it in a broader philosophical way, that you're applying this to not just your work life.
Right. Just like I say, people management it's sometimes challenging just because you are accepting someone's whole self into the work environment and trying to still get folks aligned when they're very different. It's very difficult for me to just turn off who I am as Dawn Pinnock and put on the hat of commissioner. In fact, I always say that my goal is to be the best Dawn Pinnock I can be because titles are fleeting. I enjoy my job, I'm committed to my job, but I'm not my job. I'm Dawn Pinnock, and as part of being a citizen of New York City, I do choose to be a giraffe. I want to make the best decisions in my personal life, for my family, for myself, in terms of my growth, and absolutely for DCAS.
So you might turtle out just for one afternoon on the couch.
I don't know if I could ever do the turtle.
No, you could never. I've known you for 5 minutes. You're never turtling out. I don't see it happening. When you mentioned that TD Jakes had built quite a fortune, somehow I had the number here somewhere. I think it was $18 million. You said that as if that were a good thing. And I confess I'm always a little skeptical of a member of the clergy who's made a lot of money.
Well, I guess it depends on how they're making it, right? But if you're writing
I don't think
books,
he's sticking up liquor stores. I don't have a
exactly.
Is he?
Yeah, I doubt it.
I don't know, but even so.
But if you're selling books and through that work you're helping people to transform their lives and think differently and treat each other well as citizens, I think you deserve the money.
Well, I know there's a whole tradition of churches that are that kind of gospel. It's the gospel of prosperity. But I always had a hard time with it. Maybe that's why I'm not prosperous. I don't know. Do you think his approach to both the human character and management style does it seem particularly Christian?
You said does it seem particularly Christian?
Yeah.
Well, in this book in particular, although he's a pastor, he's really talking about leadership styles and just some of the things he's learned as he's built his business. So there are very, very few Christian or biblical references. It's really more so about how to harness that balance between your intellect and your instinct. So in this particular book, it's very few references.
But isn't there a conflict between being a clergy and being an entrepreneur, or no? Am I just being square?
I think you're being a little square.
Okay.
Maybe you're being a parallelogram. I'll still give you 4 sides.
No, I've learned to accept my squareness. I'm getting old. But we wouldn't allow that sort of thing in city government. Like a government employee can't do business with the city, right?
A government employee can't do business with the city? No, you cannot. So there are different mechanisms in place, right? So if you have a second job, there's a dual employment process you need to go through. If you are deciding to be an entrepreneur and you perform certain kinds of services outside of work, you go through the conflict of interest board to determine if there's a nexus between what you're doing and the work here for the city. So we do have controls and provisions in place to ensure there's no conflict.
Right, but the church doesn't. So.
Okay, listen, this is still going to be my favorite book, Randy. You're not going to ruin this.
No, I'm just trying to understand. I did notice, and I wasn't sure whether they should make me like him more, like him less, but on his website, there's a gift shop, as pretty much every website, nothing wrong with that. But he sells a 23rd Psalm bomber jacket.
Really?
Yeah, it's
I've never gone to the website.
$88.20.
Oh, wow.
Why the 20 cents? I don't know, but I'm not used to seeing those two groups of words together. 23rd Psalm bomber jacket. But I don't know. But again, it's because I'm very old and very square, maybe.
Age is just, a state of mind.
Yeah, it's
just
to my knees. Do you guys have anything to do with the speaking of gift shops, the city's
the city store?
Yeah.
Yes, that's within our portfolio, the city store.
Oh, what are you selling these days?
Oh, we sell lots of things. We sell these beautiful apples that are they're paperweights and they're gorgeous, and the mayor usually loves to hand them out to folks who visit City Hall.
Oh, they're not real. I mean, they're not edible apples.
No. I mean, I don't think you want to take a bite out of it, but
All right.
no, they're paperweights. We also sell books. We sell products that are made by local artisans and local vendors. So sometimes we have like hot sauces or chocolate for Valentine's Day.
Wait, there's New York City hot sauce?
Well, not New York City hot sauce. There may be different folks who produce hot sauce, and we sometimes sell it from the store. We also have apparel. We have cool socks. Socks, apparel, books. We've had beach towels, water bottles. You should come by.
I used to be a regular. I used to go.
So why aren't you shopping there now?
It's a weakness in my character. I have no doubt, and I'm going to correct it.
Okay.
Thank you all. Good night. I used to go every year to buy the Green Book.
Oh, very nice.
Everybody here, I think, knows what the Green Book is.
Yes.
But is the Green Book? I mean, maybe there's no need for it now that that
So we've
information's
been
all
working to
online.
try to digitize, but we still have to produce a certain number of copies because some folks are very tied to the paper.
Yeah,
but we've been
some
trying to shift
people my age,
from
right?
that.
That's it.
I didn't say that.
But
Age is a state of mind.
I'm very self-conscious about it. But I've shifted away from the Green. But there was something very nice about getting the Green Book every year because it was a new edition. This was the past. Here's the
Right.
present. And with the continual evolution, which it's much better that you guys can update who's where and who's who. I appreciate that that's better, but I miss that sort of moment of change. And it's a new
Really?
year. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Is that just sentimental, do you think?
I think it's sentimental, but I do think for some it offered a level of transparency into government because you'd have the names, salaries of people who work at different agencies, whether that mission has changed in the agency and evolved. So I do think that it offered a great deal of transparency. So I think it was good for its time. But now everyone has a website and all that information is consistently updated. And so that's why I think that there's some folks who are tied to it, but many folks, really like to navigate on their own that agency's website.
I know your way is better, and I've given up buying the Green Book. I'm surprised to hear that it's still being printed. But it was quite a wonderful thing. It was like the government, and it was only like, I'm holding my hands up, but it was like the size of
You can have New York City government in your pocket.
Yes, exactly.
But you can still now have that through your phone.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's true. I'm not alone. I realize that this is your way of managing information is much better.
Okay.
I think I also liked it because there was contact information, right?
Yes.
And it made the government seem open to me. That if I want to talk to someone at the Department of Transportation, I could.
If you want to talk to Dawn Pinnock, look, here she is.
It's amazing to me. But I think you guys encourage that, right?
Yes, we absolutely do, encourage that level of transparency. Yes, every agency has its own website. Usually there's a bit of a feature, specifically about that commissioner. Definitely at DCAS, since we are a citywide service provider, we're very big on providing contact lists, direct email addresses, just so that we can really address our client's problem at its root cause. So
It's a great feeling to feel that just that you can send your email to someone in city government. It makes it feel that the city government is going to be responsive to me, even if I don't like answering the email. But that's a wonderful thing.
it is.
Take some questions.
Sure.
Can I take some questions? Do we have some questions? Does the giraffe have a name?
No, I've never named her. Would you like to name her?
No. I just wondered how you
staring
felt.
at you.
I'm pro giraffe. I'm historically pro giraffe. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Are there any initiatives at your agency that you're not proud of right now?
Oh my gosh. Any initiatives that I'm not proud of?
I would have phrased it, any initiatives that you're especially proud of. Oh, most proud of. Wait, is that a ringer? Is that someone from your office?
Oh my goodness,
Let me rephrase
Randy.
this question. Are there any initiatives at your agency that you're most proud of?
That I'm most proud of?
Reading is hard.
Well, I think there's so much we're working on that I'm proud of. Certainly right now, that's been most visible and most pressing. Definitely in the area of sustainability. I know that Commissioner Toole had mentioned that we're really working to not only electrify the city's fleet, we're also installing green roofs on schools, and we are really trying to make citywide operations just greener, for future generations. So very proud of that work. Also, as it relates to workforce, and that's the reason why I mentioned, that we do have quite a few number of vacancies, coming out of the pandemic. Separation rates have, increased, and so we're actively working to make New York City government, that employer of choice for people who want to serve. And so every week, since about February or so, we've been hosting hiring events, where we're providing a one-stop experience for job seekers who are interested in working in government. So we've been going to every borough. We will be in this building, 31 Chambers Street, on Saturday. And so for folks who are interested in working in government, they should actually stop by. We have the agencies there, they talk to you about a job, you can get an on-the-spot interview, sometimes a job offer.
Wow.
So that work has been really, really exciting because it's definitely a big shift from how the city has historically hired.
Do you have people come to you who they just have a general sense that they want to work in city government but are not drawn to a particular agency or have a sense of what a particular job might be?
Absolutely. So we have some job seekers who are really focused, right? They'll say, I want to work at Department of Health.
Right.
I want to work at, correction. However, lots of folks are just like, well, what do you have? And they just come in with a resume. And so what we've done to really improve that experience for a job seeker, we've created information tables. So you can come in, we can pre-qualify your resume to basically let you know which titles you qualify for today. And then we try to make a match so that as you're navigating your time in that hiring hall, that you can be interviewed by an agency where it seems like your skills align with what they need.
Great. Do you have outreach at the city schools?
So yes, we've been partnering with CUNY. We're working on that partnership now. Also working with DOE. We actually just visited one of our career and technical high schools today, featuring our donation of some electric vehicles to support an internship that we run with them. And so really talking about how when someone leaves from that internship and graduates from high school, they could potentially qualify to serve as an auto service worker because of the hours of instruction they've received. So we're really working on pipeline development, thinking about how we recruit, how quickly we can hire and get you on board, but then how we retain you, and how we retain your talent within the city.
Am I right that the cost of training a new employee and bringing onboarding a new, I say onboarding like I use that word all the time.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. Yeah, I know, I'm embarrassed. That's our roles, basically. That's much more costly and time consuming, so that retaining people is the way to go.
Really, retaining people is key. And I think I mentioned to you previously, so DCAS is my 5th agency. I didn't start off in government at DCAS. I think I was one of those folks who thought after 2 years, I'll get all of this experience and then I'm gonna leave and, and find something else. But I
What are you gonna
say,
get? Like to
I
make
have no
$1
idea
billion
where I was gonna go.
and
I think it was late 20s, I was
Yeah, yeah.
young, single, and free. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Right, so.
I'm hoping to find out for myself someday.
And so, but what kept me here was the fact that there was always another interesting project. Like, there was another problem to solve, there was another way to apply my skills that were transferable, and then 5 agencies in, this is my 5th agency, and this is my 15th job in government. So, there's definitely a way to make a career here in the city of New York if you want one.
This is a very specific question. What's your daughter's view of the band BTS and their
Oh,
temporary
how
break
funny.
for military service?
Oh my goodness. Okay, you don't have to, who wrote that question? I have to know. Because right now you're in my world, whoever wrote the question. So, my daughter used to love BTS. That was the first K-pop band that she loved. Now she's evolved. Now she's into Enhypen, and now she's into TXT. And so she understands the mandatory military service for BTS, and so I think they have to serve for 2 years. And then she's looking forward to seeing what they do once their service is over, but she's kind of over them. She's moved on to other groups.
I think once they leave for 2 years, you have to. Who can blame her? Does DCAS? I just like saying DCAS. Does DCAS oversee any real estate on Governor's Island? And what are some of the current plans? Well, we know the current plan. So I would maybe amend this to: do you have a relationship with Governor's Island? What do you think of the current plan?
So we have a relationship with Governor's Island, but that's not directly under our purview. But if you're referring to just how as a city we're working through issues related to asylum seekers or providing shelter for folks who are coming into the city, certainly we're looking at all the spaces that we have citywide, whether it's office building space that can be converted, whether it's plots of land where we can build shelters there, really as a sanctuary city trying to make sure we're making all spaces available to folks who are coming here looking for safety.
Oh, I was thinking of the longer term plan that was recently announced about the climate research.
Oh, okay.
Through universities.
Okay, so I mean, tangentially we work on certain projects like that, but that's not directly under our purview.
I see. This is again seems very personal. Where do your superhero powers come from?
Someone thinks I'm a superhero? Did you see my cape? I hung it outside the door before I walked in. So I think my superpower, and someone asked me this last week, it was so funny, I think it's motherhood. I think that, if you're a mama, then you have superpowers. You become an expert in time management, also self-management, people management. I mean, you're juggling every day, and to the outside world generally looks so easy and seamless, but that's part of our superpower. Make it look easy, but it isn't.
Make it look easy, but it isn't. Another question, what is a transformational initiative DCAS has recently successfully executed?
So definitely the stuff we're doing around workforce, that's transformational. And I'm saying this because I applied to work in city government when I had to go to the Sunday New York Times, and I would look in the classified ads, and I'd find a job to apply to, and I just hoped that someone saw my resume amongst a sea of thousands of resumes for the same position. Now we have certainly used automation to help us use our civil service system in a way that's more nimble. We have automated testing. Now you can apply for a civil service exam using your phone, which is definitely transformational, but also these recent hiring initiatives, we've never, offered same-day interviews and same-day jobs as a city. And so the fact that we have hundreds of people who come to every event, we've been averaging, about 150 job offers for every event. Getting that first city job for someone really is something that's life-changing for them, and it means something to them and to their families. So I would say that that's transformational.
And to the city. Here's a question about about building inspection, and I'm not sure if this is your purview, and DOP and building collapses. The building collapsed at Pace a few weeks ago. There was the parking garage collapse.
That was actually not us, separate and apart from the fact that there were, some city cars that were parked within that lot on Ann Street, so that wasn't us. However, DOB is one of our clients. As a city, we do hire inspectors. We also make sure that we comply with every local law to make sure that scaffolding is up and that our buildings are safe. So that is some of the reasons why sometimes around the city you see lots of scaffolding up. It's because we are trying to preserve the safety of New Yorkers and passerbys, but that particular issue at Ann Street was not ours.
Well, since you brought up scaffolding, I think this may be the one time I'm along with everyone in the room. It's horrible. That it's been hard. And I know you guys didn't write this law, and I understand it. The law, it's cheaper to just keep paying to keep your scaffolding up, often for buildings than to make the repairs. But I'm not the first one to think of the idea that, well, you get to keep the scaffolding up for a year. A reasonable, or whatever you guys deem a reasonable time to make the repair. After that, the fines start escalating. There's scaffolding in my neighborhood that's been there for 20 years. I'm making up that number, but for 10 years for sure, and that's not it. Do you guys have any influence on that?
So, yes and no, because there are times where, depending on the scope of that construction project, which another one of our clients generally handle large-scale construction projects, sometimes, because of the length of time that the scaffolding has been up, if it's determined that there is no urgency to keeping it up, or there's no imminent danger after we checked the safety of the building, that there have been times where maybe we remove portions of the scaffolding. However, in most cases, like you said, we do keep the scaffolding up for quite a bit of time because there is a concern about the potential integrity of that building.
Oh, I realize you haven't written the law. You have the task of administering the laws that exist, but it's a terrible law.
That's actually one of the least envied positions that we have, because that there's absolutely a shared view where folks, in certain neighborhoods, when the building has had a host of repairs that are needed, and then there's the need to keep the scaffolding up for many years. So I absolutely understand your perspective.
Oh, I'm sure I'm not even the first 1,000th person who's lying to you about scaffolding. If at some point you decided DCAS, you've had your time at DCAS, you've had the best of it, and you were going to look for another job, what do you think it might be?
Oh, wow. I definitely want to write a book because I feel that I have a very interesting way to leading and managing, and so I think that it's a way that's grounded in reality, but also there's like a sprinkling of aspiration, so I think that would really help people really navigate their careers. Also, at a certain point, I'd like to teach, whether it's, being a professor, to really just share, what I've learned, and so I would think that would be the next path I would pursue.
Well, yeah, you know how to govern, and it would be nice. That would be nice to convey to other people. Do you believe in daily affirmations? And if so, can you share some? And they add only if you're comfortable.
Okay. I do believe in pouring into yourself. So whether you are thinking about how you navigate your life or how you navigate your career, I think you always have to be mindful of how you treat yourself and to treat yourself well in every space you occupy. You're not going to always make the right decision, but the goal should be to make the best decision you can with the information you have. And so I do talk to myself often, and yes, I do answer. So sometimes I'll say, Dawn, you're the best to ever do it. And then I just smile at myself. Or sometimes I say, this is going to be hard, but today in this space, you're gonna do the best you can with what you have. Or I'll say, I've seen someone else do this, but I can only be the best me in this space, and that's gonna be great for the audience. Or I'll say, this is gonna transform someone's life. I make it up every day, or sometimes I play theme music before I head into a meeting, just to really pump myself up and really serve as my best advocate and my best supporter.
Well, whatever you're doing, put it in bottles and sell it at the city store. I'm Jeremy again, and thank you, Dawn Pinnock.
Thank you.